create a sprite using that red Pac-Man button. This is the picture for the sprite. The sprite is now available in the sprites section. The blue allows us to create an object. Normally these have the beginning name of obj for object and SPR for sprite, etc. No sprite available for this object yet. We click here to get a sprite. Okay, and now we've got an object. So clicking on any of these brings up the, double clicking brings up the properties. There's not a lot to do in sprites, but for objects you can set events and actions. The events and actions are what make things happen in the game. Okay, so these are the events you can add. What happens if the sprite gets destroyed, gets created, collides with something, or in our case it's just what happens when somebody clicks the mouse. When they click the mouse, you have control over how they click the mouse, and we're just going to say standard left button pressed on the mouse. Okay, so this is the object based upon this sprite, the look of the object. When it's left pressed by the mouse, we can make it do things. Actions can happen. So the actions that happened on our hotspots were, what were they again? They were to play sound. Okay, sound. Actually, I don't have sounds because I haven't created sounds at the side here yet. Then we wanted to pause it, which is this one. And then finally to open a file, which was some of these ones. Display message. No, probably not that one, because it didn't ask me what file. Game info, no, not that one. Yeah, okay, that's the one, splash text, because it asks me here for what's the name of the text file, and you see the list of the names of text files that we used. So okay with that. So okay, object, something happens when it's button pressed. These are the three things that happen. So all of these are okay, except this one says look at text.txt, which we don't have, we have to create that. And this one says play sound, we don't have a sound yet, we have to create a sound. Let's do the sound. Here's the speaker icon. Call this sound. Success, because they found something. So load up any file. We used fanfare, I think. Fanfare 1. Let's play that. Okay. So sound success is the name of it, and we'll say OK to that. So now I can go back to my object and complete the play sound I didn't complete. So you see it says undefined. Double click that and say I want to use my Sound success. It's not going to loop, it's only going to play once. And OK that. Next, to create the backgrounds. That's our picture. It's called background 0. It's 640 by 480, by the way, because the picture was 640 by 480, which is a reasonable size to have for a game. Okay, so just to show you then the game, so I've loaded the actual health game version 4 I created, and you can see that basically it's the same, except we've got more items. So we've got a couple of sprites, still only have the one sound, but we have a couple of backgrounds, and we've got a lot more objects. Remember, the objects were created based upon the visual look of a sprite. So to understand it all really, let's take a look at the end result, the game office. So these are the rooms, rooms called intro and called office 0. So the rooms will display in the order they're listed here. Intro displays first, office 0 then displays. So here I'll open office 0 so you can see this. That's what it looks like. The grid pattern is optional, we can turn that off, it's just to help place things around the place. And all of those little plates or buttons that you see there, those are the objects that I put on. So that's object 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. The object is based upon this sprite. But if I show you the object properties, I've just unticked the visible box. So even though it's a sprite, it doesn't actually display because I've told it to be invisible. And you can see the left press event and the actions that we've applied. Okay, so that's all there is really to the office. The office is here with the little hotspots applied, and the left click event triggers the actions that happen on it. There we see that's the object. This is the background. So the background is background 0, which is that one with the picture. And nothing else has changed in this. Let's look at intro. There's intro, and we'll turn off that grid again so we can see what happens. So here I made some modifications to the background, and I did that by going to background and okay, sorry, the edits aren't done here, but one thing that is done here is the caption. So in settings I put on a caption which appears at the top of the screen when the game runs. So to get these changes here, actually I have to go back to the kind of source area which is up here in the backgrounds. So this is a room, and the room is told to have one of these backgrounds. So I need to go to here to change things about the backgrounds. That's my intro background. I'll open that, and here you see we've got an edit. No, that's the name of it. If we edit the background, it brings us into this kind of Photoshoppy look place, and that's where I inserted all this stuff. So here's a rectangle. That's how I got the white background. And then you can set obviously the colors and all that kind of stuff, the shape, the size of the lines and all that business can be set there. Text is here, click and type. And I don't want to save that now. Don't want to save it. That's fine, I won't save the game. Close. And close. To explain the one last thing, I think, is the playing button that you see on the intro screen. So I created a sprite, sprite, I called up the play button, not from there but from the buttons folder. Then down here I created another object called the start play object. I loaded up that sprite, and then by using the events and actions I really turned that sprite into an active button. So you can see here what the button says. It just says go to the next room. That's why I was saying here it's intro and off is 0, so next is the next one in line. And if you continued on your development, you'd have another couple of rooms here eventually to use and get to. Okay, so it's there. So then if you go to the room, intro, that stupid grid. So you can see here the button is placed in there. So to place anything in a room, here at the side it shows you what you have. So if we click here, we'll take one of our little invisible buttons, and if I then click, it places it somewhere for me. If you want to get rid of them, you use the right mouse click to get rid of them. There's no actual delete command that I've seen. So if here I choose the button, and then I click up here, then we'll have a button. So in the same way in our office, if we decided that we wanted to include another hazard, so let's say the drinks can here, you choose whatever you wanted to highlight that, which in our case will be an invisible button. Now I've used all the buttons, so actually I would need to create a new one, invisible 5. But once you have it selected, I'm just showing you really how to place it. You click and it comes over something. Okay. Alright, that's it. Save changes. No. And you've seen it running. We created an exe file here, file, create executable. When you're authoring, you can also preview the game like this with the run button. Okay, so there's your first room, your intro room. There's the caption. That caption is on the settings part of the room properties. There's all the stuff we added. There's our button, which is active. And so now here this drink is faulty. If we click that, and it shows the text. So the text, remember, we didn't put that in very much, but it was text.txt in my first sample. We've called them success 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think.